let's take a look. Free agent DeAndre Hopkins still in the news, still very much connected to the Browns. So this is coming from NFL rumors. Deshaun Watson has privately been going all out, in quotes, recruiting DeAndre Hopkins. Both are best friends and have had success with each other as members of the Houston Texans a couple of years ago. I also have checked in with league sources, and league sources tell me the Browns are one of several teams that are in the hunt, if you will, for DeAndre Hopkins. The source did say that the Browns have some financial limitations. They have 13 plus under the salary cap after getting the $11 million back from John Johnson III and Jadeveon Clowney. But the source said, do not discount the relationship between Hopkins and Watson. It's very strong. They remain really good friends, and both would like to play together again. So, again, the financials, not sure they're going to work out. Browns very much in the hunt. With that, let's welcome in Jared Mueller, Dogs by Nature. Jared, you know, you knew this was kind of going to be the case just because there was a lot of success between the two. Just your thoughts on the whole Hopkins to the Browns situation.
You know, I've heard a lot of the same things you've heard. In a lot of ways, it sounds like the Browns are where Hopkins wants to be, but he's hoping he can find a better deal, which I think could create some really interesting dynamics from a timing perspective for both sides. Does he wait to see if there's an injury? A team kind of wants him more than they currently do. The Browns' limitations financially are real. Next year they're currently projected to have be about $61 million over the salary cap, right? So there is some realness to that, but right now there's not another team offering the kind of money that just eliminates the Browns based on finances. So instead, it's just about Hopkins and the Browns figuring out, is there a number that works? And Hopkins kind of deciding whether he thinks something will open up for him, or is this the best place? And I think that's really hard for him, because if he comes to Cleveland, they're not going to give him a huge contract, probably a 1-year deal, maybe a 2-year deal maximum, but he's not going to have the ability, he's not going to be the number one receiver, right? Cooper will still stay the number one receiver unless something crazy happens and he's dealt. So how does Hopkins make a little money this year, but set himself up for a bigger contract next year? That may not happen in Cleveland. So just a lot of moving parts, but I think it makes a lot of sense for the Browns, who is Zadarius Smith and some of the other moves have shown they're really all in at this point.
Yeah, and in fairness to Hopkins, nobody should tell anybody, oh, take less to come, especially somebody who's, 31, 32 years old. You never know how many more NFL contracts are going to be there. So it's easy for the media to sit back and say, take less. The reality is you're trying to make as much money as you can in a finite amount of time.
Absolutely. And the reality is, yes, chasing rings is great, all of that. But at some level, you can't really take that with you, right? So if he can find a perfect kind of sweet spot of a contender plus money, I think that makes a lot of sense. But listen, most of us would probably move on if we got double our salary, right? So if Houston decides they want a reunion for $15-16 million, the Odell Beckham Jr. contract, versus the Browns at 8, most of us would make the decision to go to Houston, even if they're far away from being a Super Bowl contender.